Giant Orange Records.
Welcome to the Garage Rock Vinyl Tag 2025, brought to you by Giant Orange Records. And man, it is a chilly night here in Florida. It is January. I'm actually drinking tea. And yeah, it's chilly in here. I'm normally sweating when I make these, but not tonight. And, we're just coming off of Christmas, and I just wanted to show you this really cool thing I got from a friend of mine. It's a record player coaster. So there's these little miniature records on there. They're also coasters. Well, of course, we'll put the orange one on top. I saw this vinyl tag, and I'm going to do my own version of it. So it's just 7 quick questions. One is show an album from 66 and 67. So we're starting off with the Uniques, Uniquely Yours. This one's from 66, and it features a guy named Joe Stampley, who later became a country star. It's a very soulful garage rock record. Found this one in Athens a few months ago and finally got around to giving it a few spins, and it's really growing on me. At first I thought, the first track is totally a banger. It's called You Ain't Tough, which sounds like something that would be on Pebbles. Maybe it is on Pebbles. It's definitely kind of Pebbles-worthy garage stomper, but a lot of the rest of it is very ballady. It's very soulful. And there's a really great song on here called Not Too Long Ago. That's the other standout track. I actually thought that was a cover of an old soul song, but it turns out that's an original song that these guys wrote. So kudos to them for that. Some of it almost sounds like it was recorded in LA. Some of the production's pretty fancy, got some horns on it. It's Southern country, soul, and garage. It's kind of a unique blend of a lot of things. And, I think you could have seen this band on a Friday night at a dance hall in whatever Louisiana town they were from. So, Louisiana's got a lot of soul. And here's one from 67 from Ocala. These are the Royal Guardsmen. The album's called Return of the Red Baron. Now, I'm going to go more in depth on this on my Florida Garage video that I've got in the works, at least up here. Return of the Red Baron, okay. They do some badass covers of like Gimme Some Lovin', I'm a Man, Say Want to Be a Rock and Roll Star. And again, let's not focus too much on the covers because they got some cool like originals on here too, like the Airplane song, which is kind of like a unexpected kind of cool number. Any Wednesday was pretty cool. Searching for the Good Times, I Need You, I Need You Girl. That sounds like a garage rock song, if there ever was one, and Leavin' Me. I'm always surprised by how much I like this record when I put it on, because it looks kind of goofy. You can tell these guys are pretty young, but, they're a great little band. Next we have Show a Garage Revival album, or 3. I'm going to start with the Frowning Clouds Whereabouts. This one's been on my turntable nonstop since I got it about 2 years ago. 2.5 years ago, maybe. It is a Giant Orange record because there's an orange on the label. Not necessarily where I got the idea from, but hey, it doesn't hurt. This was a band from down under in Australia. Man, I can't stop listening to this record. Every time I put it on, it puts a giant smile on my face. There's a lot of like 12-string guitars, very surfy, very, very much one of my favorite Garage Revival albums. Then, of course, there's the Ar-Kaics. Man, I saw this band and they changed my life. I saw them in Orlando at Will's Pub quite a few years ago now, and I was up there on the front row, like banging my head around, just having a great time. They cranked up their Silvertone and Dan Electro amps, and it was one of the most incredible shows I've ever seen. Maybe I might say that might be my personal favorite show I've ever seen. This Ar-Kaics album, the artwork doesn't do it justice for how good this album is. This one is called In This Time. It was from 2018. I think this is like the Coke bottle edition or Coke bottle clear, something like that. Every song on here is worth seeking out if you're a fan of the garage rock revival. This is probably a record that I've spun as much as almost anything I've ever had in my collection. And talk about life-changing shows, another one of my absolute all-time favorite shows, favorite one I've seen in quite a long time, was by a band called the Losin Streaks. I just can't get enough of this band or this album, Last House, which came out in early 2024, and it's hardly left the turntable. I got the band to sign it when I saw them in Athens at the end of September. And yeah, it's just a mix of like garage, surf, pebblesy kind of garage rock. Really, really good stuff. And they kind of get into some darker moments too. Really just like a band that plays together so well. It's hard to describe. And the recording kind of captures it. It captures it pretty darn well. But after having seen them live, you know, just the drums and the volume of the guitar amps, just everything's so much louder live and so much more in your face when they play live. And I just like that. The recording's almost tame in comparison just because recordings don't quite do the live music experience any justice. On to number 3, show a garage rock comp or 3. SVR, they were a record label out of Detroit. You might have heard of some of the bands on here, like the Unrelated Segments. They've been on various other garage comps. The Story of My Life is probably the song that you've heard. There's some other really good ones. I think all their singles are on here. But there was another band called the Tidal Waves who had a song on here. My 2 favorite songs on here are almost by the same band. The Tidal Waves, Action Speaks Louder Than Words. Great little song from December 1966. The tune was written by Dennis Mills and was the 3rd Tidal Waves release. And then on side 2 kicks it off with Said I Wasn't Gonna Tell Nobody by The Groove. That's Gruve. And The Groove were actually the Tidal Waves with some personnel changes. The Groove made a conscious move away from the straighter rock approach of Farmer John, their first hit, toward more of an R&B sound. And yeah, that's such a cool, like soulful, very soulful garage. And that's another nice blend of 2 awesome genres. But this whole compilation is a fun one. And I couldn't talk about garage rock compilations without mentioning Back from the Grave, Volume 1 on Crypt Records. This has so many incredible songs on it, like The Rat's Revenge, My Confusion, The Jujus, Do You Understand Me? And then there's side 2 starts off with The Rats, a band called The Rats, who have a song called Rat's Revenge Part 1, and you guessed it, Rat's Revenge Part 2. The greatest garage punk record ever. The greatest because the Fuzz Tones will never cover it. 2, no dickweed intellectual rock critic will ever be able to appreciate, analyze, or understand the absolute genius behind a record like this. And 3, because it fucking rules, period. Then here's a recently acquired Girls in the Garage, Volume 3. This is a Record Store Day special edition on colored vinyl. Anyway, who cares about colored vinyl? I'm not crazy about it, but I am crazy about the Girls in the Garage. Yeah, what a fun compilation. Really, one band I want to point out here was called the Liverbirds. They were from Liverpool, pretty good music town. And they actually also went to a German town called Hamburg. Sound familiar? Liverpool bands going to Hamburg. This all-girl Liverpool band were no strangers to audiences in Germany from 1963 until at least 66. They played punky R&B, including a lot of Bo Diddley tunes, such as Diddley Daddy, which we picked to show here how tough they were. And in their career, they released several 45s and 3 albums in Germany, and even had 2 singles out in America, but they never released anything in their native England, and they're virtually unknown there. Their original song, Why Do You Hang Around Me, is a real greaser on here. So that's the track I would recommend on here, the one that I remember. Next, show a garage rock 45 or 2. These are both orange. if I can hold on to it. These are both orange records. This one is from 1965. It's called It's Up to You by a band called the Creations, who were out of Texas. This was the only thing that they ever did. To me, it sounds sort of like Buffalo Springfield a full year or so before the Buffalo Springfield came out. Country plus garage rock, British invasion rock, I don't know. Cool tune. Got it from the Ladson Flea Market. Here's a newer one by the Ar-Kaics. I mean, it's newer than 65. It probably came out in the aughts or the early 2010s. Slave to Her Lies. Really cool song. Back with Why Should I? Again, I already told you about the Ar-Kaics earlier. Life-changing show. So whenever I see their stuff, I get it. Next question is, show a live garage album or 3. I want to start with the OC's Levitation sessions, which came out during the pandemic. This one was recorded at Pappy and Harriet's with just the band and a video crew. And man, that's talk about a blazer of an album. And they also included a 45 with it. And only to outdo themselves, they made Levitation Sessions 2. This was recorded in a abandoned warehouse in Los Angeles because why not? This one is a double LP. Both of these are just like a really good career spanning overview of the band. And again, like they're just incredible live. Then I recently picked up this other live album by some garage band you might have heard of called the White Stripes. This is the complete John Peel sessions, also a double LP. This one's on black vinyl. I've only managed to listen to side 1 so far, but I really, really enjoyed it. And then we have the famous John Peel of the BBC Radio, who's promoted a lot of bands over the years with a very, very young version of the White Stripes who were in top form. This was recorded in July 2001 and again in November 2001. This one's from the Third Man Archives. Thankfully, my local record shop had this one. Number 6, show a garage rock reissue. While this isn't particularly a reissue, this is a band called We the People, another Florida band from the Orlando area. I'm going to feature them in my upcoming Orlando garage bands or Florida garage bands. These guys are really awesome. Wayne Proctor, really awesome dude. I've messaged him a couple of times before. He's very encouraging, very nice fella. Man, this came out on Sundays. Now, We the People never actually released an album in the 60s. They released a handful of singles, but back in 2008 or something like that, Sundays put out this compilation of a bunch of their singles called Too Much Noise, and what a wonderful bit this is. Check out their songs. You Burn Me Up and Down, My Brother the Man, Mirror of Your Mind, Declaration of Independence, In the Past, it's a really good one, Half of Wednesday, You're the Color of Love, The Beginning of the End. I mean, it just doesn't stop. All these songs are incredible. And another reissue, again, a collection of a band that never released albums, but had a handful of awesome singles. Is actually the Lemon Fog is on one side and the Nomads are on the other side. These were both Houston, Texas area bands. This compilation was released in like 1982 or something like that. Yeah, it was 1982. And again, these singles came out in the late 60s. The Lemon Fog is just, I don't know, a perfect blend of like sunshine, psych, and garage. The Nomads are a little bit more on the garagey punk side of things. Anyway, I absolutely love this. I've spun this so many times since I've had it. This is really like one of the greatest pieces of garage rock unknown vinyl to be reissued on wax. And then number 7, this is something that I added to the vinyl tag myself. Show a garage rock collaboration. This is Ty Segall and White Fence Hair. This came out in 2012, one of the most brilliant years of garage revival bands. I really like both of these guys on their own, but I think together they made probably my favorite record that either of these guys have ever made. And it's just a little 8-song thing. I mean, when this came out, it just blew my mind wide open. I've probably listened to this as much as anything I've ever listened to in my entire life. Time, I'm Not a Game, Easy Rider, love that song. Crybaby, Can't Get Around You, Scissor People. And they have some like incredibly psychedelic lyrics, like As Frequent as the Rain is one of the choruses or refrains on one of the songs. I'm just like, that is as psychedelic as it gets. And then they just rip into it. If you if you do a little YouTube search, you can find some videos of them playing this stuff live together. It is awesome. So that's my little Garage Rock Vinyl Tag 2025. Have fun spinning your garage records this year. It's a genre that keeps on giving, and it creates so much excitement. It's fun, it's loud, it's snotty, but it has a lot of depth to it too. It's not just people trying to be the British invasion or knocking that off. There's a lot of soul to it. There's some country elements. There's some surf elements. There's such a blend of different genres within this one very rich and rewarding genre.
Giant, orange, giant, orange, giant, orange.